Welcome back to the first round of the DMAX National Champs hosted at Daytona Sandown Park. We'll be taking a look at the highlights from the first round of the heat finals.
Well, welcome along to the DMAX National Champs. We're here for the heats racing, and we're going to start with the intermediates and the heavyweights who take to the grid. James Dowding and Owen Genman make up the front row of the grid, with Anthony Whippich looking to improve on his already stellar performance in the endurance race alongside Andrew O'Neill on row 2. Bradley Philpott is in 5th position with Ross Sandwell alongside him on row 3, Peter Stockwin and William Woods row 4. Alfie Shrub is on row 5 alongside Justin Elliott with Kieran Hyde-Moody and Joe Hamblett row 6. Kuba Wozniak is in 13th position with Matt Ellis and Sam Ruddock, the rest of your intermediate grid. As for the heavyweights, well, this one's going to be interesting because there aren't a lot of them, but they are very close in pace. It's Will Tidman at the front of the field with Henry Lopez Gracie alongside him on the front row. Alex Pritchard and Ashley Mason-King are the other two competitors. As I said, this one could go either way. So the field just forming up. Safety cart has peeled into the pit lane. We have got our first heats race of the day about to take place here at Daytona Sandown Park. Both the inters and the heavies on the grid at the same time. 17 laps ahead of us. It is lights out and away we go, and it's a good start of that second row of the grid for Anthony Whippich, who's already going to get himself up into second position. It's a decent start for the rest of the field as they make their way through. We're on board with Bradley Philpott. He makes his way up the inside into Vale. Kieran Hyde-Moody's in a little bit of a squabble. He's looking at Justin Elliott just ahead of him is down the inside line. You can see there they're all sorting themselves out. Philpott is off out to the right hand side. He's been overtaken by Bradley Philpott, and now Justin Elliott goes round someone else involved in that. Henry Lopez Gracie squeezes through just about unscathed, but there's a little bit of drama here on the first lap of this race. The rest of the field with 3 wide further behind, but Anthony Whippich into second position. James Dowding still leads the way here as we come to the end of the first lap. Henry Lopez Gracie down the inside line goes Ashley Mason-King. So Henry Lopez Gracie loses second position, now might lose third to Will Tidman on the outside line. Tidman tries to hold it around the outside into turn 3. Can't quite do so. Now under pressure from Alex Pritchard just behind, as well as Pritchard squeezes to the inside line. Looks to squeeze his way through and does into turn 5, or try and complete the move. I wonder if Tidman is going to have something to say about this though as they head down the straight. Into Vale they go for the 4th time in this race, and it's Kuba Wozniak trying to get himself past Joe Hamblett but can't quite find a way through there. We're on board with Daytona Tamworth Super Champs driver Matt Ellis as he watches Kuba Wozniak go down the inside line and get himself ahead of Joe Hamblett. Now Matt Ellis dives down the inside line over his fellow Daytona Tamworth regular. Can't quite squeeze his way through though as Hamblett is back on the outside line. Making their way into turn 6. We're watching the battle for the heavyweight lead as Henry Lopez Gracie goes down the inside line. He's trying to get himself ahead of Ruddock here to put himself a card between himself and Ashley Mason-King. Can't quite do so. Mason-King finds his way back through, now pushing forward furiously as Henry Lopez Gracie as he's got Will Tidman on his inside line. Tidman able to squeeze his way through. Ashley Mason-King still trying to force himself into a spot where he's got that gap as Tidman gets himself alongside with 3 wide. Very briefly, Mason-King's in the middle. This will allow potentially Henry Lopez Gracie to go through as well. He's alongside with Ashley Mason-King as they go into turn 4, hitting the brakes. It's going to be Henry Lopez Gracie who squeezes his way into the lead, is he? As Ashley Mason-King is still there, still trying to find his way through and just about holds on to the lead of the race for the time being. You can see there he collects it on the brakes into turn number 6. That's an unbelievable piece of driving from both of those drivers. Ashley Mason-King, the victor in the battle, so to speak, but it's not over just yet as Tidman is there alongside Alex Pritchard as well. As you see this battle for the lead intensifying into the first corner. Will Tidman trying to get himself ahead of Henry Lopez Gracie. Ashley Mason-King's gone a little bit wide. That allows Henry Lopez Gracie down the inside line. Tidman follows him through as well, but now Ashley Mason-King will come back at the both of them down the inside line into turn 3 and squeeze his way through. Lopez Gracie says he's not quite happy with that as Will Tidman goes down the inside line of Ashley Mason-King, who gets tagged around, and finally the battle comes to blows between the 3 of them. It is Will Tidman then who goes through into second position. Alex Pritchard in the lead of the race. Henry Lopez Gracie third with Ashley Mason-King settling for 4th. This heavyweight battle is resuming into the final corners. You can see the field squeezing through. It's Andy O'Neill and Justin Elliott both involved as well now in this heavyweight battling. We're on board with Henry Lopez Gracie. You can see second place Will Tidman just in front of him. They'll go into turn 2. Justin Elliott looks to the inside line. Tidman's in a bit of a difficult spot here as he'll go to the outside line. Might give Gracie a chance to go down the inside line. He's going to try and muscle his way through and does. So it's Henry Lopez Gracie into second position. Now pushes forward once again to try and catch after your race leader. Lap 9 of the race, we're past half distance and we're watching Kuba Wozniak go down at the inside line of Kieran Hyde-Moody, who tries to hold it around the outside line but can't quite do so. Peter Stockwin in this battle for 7th position as well. So Kuba into 7th spot. Kieran Hyde-Moody settling for 8th at the moment. Peter Stockwin just stalking behind. Nearing the end of this race, you're watching a battle for 6th position as Kuba Wozniak has now caught up to Alfie Shrub, who knows this track very, very well. A frequent of the top of the Daytona Sandown Park Super Champs order. Back to Matt Ellis though, as he's facing Woods just in front of him. Can't quite find a way through just yet. We'll switch back to this battle between Shrub and Wozniak as they go through turn 4. Shrub possibly going to have to get a little bit defensive here very, very shortly. Remember, 6th position, still fantastic points in this heats race. Into turn number 7 they go, and then turn number 8 you can see maybe Wozniak fancies his chances. Down the inside line he goes. There's maybe a bit of contact between the two of them. Alfie Shrub not particularly happy with the cleanliness of that move, but it is Wozniak who gains the spot. 3 laps to go in this one, and suddenly we've got a battle for the intermediate race lead. We're on board with Anthony Whippich. He impressed in the endurance race a little bit earlier on. Looks to the outside line of Owen Jedman. James Dowding is at the top of the order at the moment, and involved is Ross Sandwell. Bradley Philpott just in the top of your picture there. He's going to get involved in this battle surely, very shortly, but it does look like Jedman, it's a bit of a roadblock for Anthony Whippich at the moment. Here goes Ross Sandwell. He's got a bit of a run as they head down at the main straight into Vale for the 15th time in this race, but can't find a way through. Whippich is going to try maybe to the inside, is he? No, he's not quite. He has to tuck in behind Owen Jedman. And now goes down the inside line into turn 3. That's a late move. It's a brave move. Ross Sandwell may be going to get involved as well as Whippich to the inside. Looks to defend into turn 4. He's got the card all crossed up. That gives Sandwell the opportunity to go down the inside line of Jedman and into 3rd position as well. So on lap 15 of this race, as we head into the penultimate lap very shortly, it's Anthony Whippich now released to chase after James Dowding for the win of this race. So the battle for the heavyweight podium still raging on. Alex Pritchard looks like he's going to take victory, but it's Henry Lopez Gracie trying to force his way down the inside line of Andy O'Neill, but that's going to give Will Tidman the opportunity to go down the inside into turn 8. He does do so. Ashley Mason-King looking to get involved as well, but it is Will Tidman who by just about a couple hundredths of a second gets himself ahead of Henry Lopez Gracie. Ashley Mason-King finishes in 4th. It's James Dowding who takes victory in the intermediate class. There you see a fist bump between himself and Anthony Whippich. And so at the end of a fantastic intermediate/heavyweight heats final here in round 1 of the Daytona DMAX National Champs, we can see your race results, which have been changed ever so slightly based on a couple of post-race penalties. Anthony Whippich inherits victory from James Dowding, who will drop to 6th based on the penalties he received throughout the course of that race. Ross Sandwell in 2nd position with Owen Jedman in 3rd. Bradley Philpott and Alfie Shrub make up the rest of your top 5, with James Dowding in 6th position. Is then Kieran Hyde-Moody, Peter Stockwin, Joe Hamblett and William Woods, your top 10. Kuba Wozniak, another victim of a post-race penalty, is in 11th position with Sam Ruddock in 12th. Andrew O'Neill is in 13th position with Matt Ellis and Justin Elliott, the rest of your grid. And in the heavyweight race, well, the size of the field did not make the race any less interesting, as Alex Pritchard takes victory ahead of Henry Lopez Gracie. Ashley Mason-King is in 3rd position. William Tidman is in 4th. And so at the end of an exhilarating race, let's head down to the pit lane to hear from our race winners.
Okay, Anthony, fresh off a fantastic race there. Earlier today, we said that you've been like a silent assassin. You know, you've just been picking up the points. You've been getting really consistent, good results, although you didn't have a heat win. But then when it counted, you delivered, and what a final race that was. Talk us through the entire race.
Well, I started with a lot of work to do. I started in 3rd, had to get past Owen. and first place, but Owen overtook me. It was a bit demoralising, but then I sent it down the inside unexpectedly into second, and then to my relief, first place got a penalty, so that's first place overall.
So, in the endurance earlier today, you had a great race there. You know, you lost the lead, unfortunately, in the final corner, but in that final, you passed the guy that passed you, and then you managed to break through and kind of deliver a bit of revenge there and get that win. How does it feel leading on the points going into round 2?
I'm ecstatic. It's utter redemption from the first race. I was very sad when I lost in the first corner, but I learned from it and I performed in the heats.
Great, you've kept a really calm head all day. Fantastic drive today.
Thank you.
Okay, so Alex, great race there. All day you guys have been giving a fantastic race throughout the heats and then just then in the final. Talk us through that final. It looked like so much was going on.
Yeah, so unlike the other heats, one driver didn't get away into the inters, which is sort of getting in the way of our battle. But it's 4 drivers, 4 consistent, you know, we're all pretty even drivers. And it came down to just what happened in the end, and I was the most opportunistic. The guy in black, you know, he sent a move he shouldn't have really sent. He nerfed the other 2, and I went through. I had a broken cart that was spluttering down the straights, but thankfully Andy O'Neill was pushing me along, and you know, just kept me head in the game. Rained a bit at the end, a bit slippery, but yeah, no one was going past.
Talk us through the emotions then in that through goes Hamilton moment.
Yeah, to be honest, I saw it happening in slow motion. There's one here, one in front of him, and then one going for a dive. Give them a bit of room, they're all dead, and I go through to the win. You know, you can't be throwing moves like that in the final because you're just coming off the circuit, all of you, and letting other drivers through, and that's what happened.
How does your confidence feel now having a final win going into the next round?
Pretty good. There's only 3 rounds, so wins count for an awful lot. So win is great, to get a win early, brilliant, and this is the worst track out of the 3 for me. So I feel much better than the other 2, so bring it on.
Okay, well congratulations on your final win today.
Great to hear from some of our heavyweights and intermediate drivers after their race. We can now turn our attention fully on to the lightweights final, where the grid looks like this. Jack O'Neill and the faceless driver make up the first row of the grid, with Milton Keynes Super Champs champion Jamie Gooden alongside Thomas Williams on row 2. Charlie Foster has done a lot of racing at Daytona Sandown Park recently. He joins fellow Sandown Park stalwart Carlos Almanis on the 3rd row of the grid, with George Lawler and Don Balasaitis row 4. Daniel Farlan and Yassine Khan make up the 5th row of the grid, with Jamie Warner and Zach Swannell just outside the top 10 on row 6. Max Andrews and Sam Hampshire will share row 7, Ellis McKenzie and Julia Stankowiak row 8. Aaron Marius and Joseph Milburn are row 9, with Jonah Norris and Max Murray the rest of the grid. So we'll be watching our lightweights as they head down into turn 1. This grid, an absolute all-star lineup of primarily Daytona Sandown Park Super Champs regulars / champions, but also the other 2 venues / other karting communities across the country being recognised in this grid as well. We'll be keeping an eye on our front 2, in particular the faceless driver, of course, on the front row of the grid. Will be very interesting to see what he is able to do. Never mind Charlie Foster starting on row 3. He's another driver superb around this circuit. Jack O'Neill is on pole position though, and we'll keep our eyes on the lights as the green flag now does fly here at Sandown Park. Jack O'Neill gets a good start. He'll maintain the lead of the race. Faceless driver into 2nd position as well. Charlie Foster trying to make a move on Thomas Williams up into 3rd position. Looks like he is able to do that off the start of this race as Yassine Khan is in all sorts of bother. Foster down into 4th. He gets into 10th position, does Yassine Khan, and now looks to the inside line as they all squeeze their way through with 4-5 wide further behind the field as this is starting to well, sort itself out into turn 4. Hopefully they all get through there cleanly, and just about they do. Riding on board with Max Murray then, as he is in 20th position at the moment, watching Norris just ahead of him, Julia Stankowiak as well on the outside line. She's battling along with Ellis McKenzie and co as they head into turn 6 for the first time. Max Murray himself looks to the inside of Norris, but isn't really able to find a way through. The field streams across the line at the end of this first lap. I can tell you that it is Jack O'Neill ahead of the faceless driver Jamie Gooden, Charlie Foster and Thomas Williams your top 5. They go into turn 3, and Faceless Driver looking to attack Jack O'Neill. Now the Faceless Driver, very interesting figure. He won here in Super Champs round 1 earlier in the year, now trying to make his mark in the DMAX Champs as well. As you see further behind, there's a little bit of contact, as you've seen Khan's involved in that, as it looked like Ellis McKenzie goes down the inside line and just about benefits from the contact with Yassine Khan. Yassine in 14th position. Jamie Warner is the driver that just got passed by Ellis McKenzie as well into turn 6. Yassine Khan's under a little bit more stress here, as that I believe is Andrews trying to find his way through into turn 8. Yassine Khan is just about able to hold on to the attack for the time being. 20 drivers on the grid, all within about 5 seconds of each other. Lap 5 of the race, and Yassine Khan still in 14th position, but he's got Hampshire on the inside line, and that is a very brave move into fail. Yassine Khan's not done just yet though. He's going to try and counter-attack here on the inside line into turn 2, and does exactly that. Sam Hampshire back on the outside line. Yassine Khan dancing around here. Hampshire looking for the switchback and gets the switchback as well, but it's not quite fruitful in the battle with Yassine Khan. Yassine Khan very busy in this race. We're now on lap 6, and Sam Hampshire dives down the inside line. Didn't really have much right to go for that move, but he made it very, very cleanly, that's for sure. Yassine Khan out of the third corner is going to try and get back at him. Sam Hampshire pointing forward. There's plenty of room to make up in this race, still not even halfway through it, and I think Hampshire's aware of that. So battle for the lead of the race. Jack O'Neill in the lead at the moment. Faceless Driver still looking for the lead though. Goes to the outside line into turn 3. Will set himself up for that switchback and gets the switchback. They'll stay side by side into turn 4. It's the Faceless Driver with that slightly tighter line, and a tighter line that's going to allow him to get into the lead of the race. But for how long? As into turn 5, he's not quite as tidy as Jack O'Neill. Jamie Tyler Gooden bought into this battle as well. Jamie, of course, applies his craft mainly at Daytona Milton Keynes, but has a plethora of experience here as well. As Jack O'Neill, similar story for him. They'll make their way out of the final corner. All three absolutely glued together, giving a chance for Charlie Foster to catch up as well. Further behind, Zach Swannell trying to get himself ahead of George Lawler for 8th position. Carlos Armanis is just ahead, and Zach goes to the inside line, able to just about find his way through. He has to go to the outside in the end. George Lawler ends up edging him out, and now Zach falls almost into 10th position. Daniel Varlan goes through as well. He has to concede that inside line, and almost concede the inside line once again to Jamie Warner, who goes through as well. So Jamie Warner's through up a spot. Zach Swannell now to the inside line into turn 6. It's so close between all those drivers as they all finally get it collected up and get themselves into position. It's Thomas Williams in 6th, Carlos Armanis, George Lawler, Jamie Warner, Zach Swannell and Ellis McKenzie in this current battle, and I have a feeling it's not done yet. Lap 11 of the race, this battle still taking place. Thomas Williams is still in that 6th position. We've got Zach Swannell on the outside line of Ellis McKenzie, now looks to duck himself under and into turn number 4. Ellis is pointing forward again, but Zach Swannell's not going to listen to him. Wow, he dives down the inside line into turn 4, just about gets to the apex early enough to get himself into the top 10. Just the 4 laps to go now, and once again we're watching that battle for 6th position. Carlos Armanis comfortably in 7th, but it's George Lawler who's got defending to do, as Jamie Warner is all over the back of him. And actually, we've just seen Zach Swannell go to the inside line, make a little bit of contact with Jamie Warner and fall back a couple of attempts for a second. This allows Jamie to focus on the battle ahead and focus on getting the position ahead of George Lawler. We'll focus back in on your podium positions as Jamie Tyler Gooden has caught up to Jack O'Neill and is going to try an attack hit for that 2nd position as he goes to the inside into turn 2. Didn't think he was going to go for the move, but he decides to do it in the end. Jamie Tyler Gooden, ever ruthless in these races, up into 2nd spot, and Jack O'Neill concedes 2nd all the way from the lead of the race earlier on. Of course, Faceless Driver doing a good job at the moment, holding on to that lead, and these two are going to be scrapping it out. Remember, Charlie Foster isn't too far behind. If they continue to scrap, Charlie might be in contention onto the final lap of the race. As through turn 6 they go. You can see them making their way through the final couple of corners again. Jack O'Neill just trying to experiment with those lines, see if he can find a way to get through on Jamie Tyler Gooden, but not to be for now. Penultimate lap of the race, not long at all, as we see Carlos Armanis trying to go down the inside line of Thomas Williams, but isn't really able to do so. Jamie Warner goes to the inside of George Lawler and gets through as well. So too does Ellis McKenzie. Zach Swannell's got his arms in the air because Daniel Varlan's managed to go through it. Now he dives down the inside line. Has to be very careful to get the kart stopped in time to make that move, and does. George Lawler then behind Ellis McKenzie and Jamie Warner now. Carlos Almanis 7th position. Thomas Williams in at 6th. Zach Swanell once again overtaken by Daniel Varlin as the leaders head into the final lap of the race. Zach all the way around the outside line, tries for the switchback, can't quite find it. Last lap on the digital board, then over turn 1. We'll switch back to our leaders. This is the battle for 2nd position. Jamie Tyler Gooden in 2nd spot at the moment, ahead of Jack O'Neill, but they'll be side by side into the 4th corner here. Jamie defending very, very well. He knows where to put his cart around this Daytona Sandown Park circuit, and so far it's working well for him, but he's got one more place to go defensive. That's turn number 6. Jack looks to go the long way round into that hairpin, but isn't quite able to do so. And now into turn number 8. Jamie Tyler Gooden will defend once more. They'll drag race to the line. Faceless driver takes victory, and drag racing to the line. Jamie Tyler Gooden holds on to 2nd spot ahead of Jack O'Neill. The battle for 11th position rages on as Daniel Varlin, Andrews and Zach Swanell all battling along, and it comes to blows at the final corner. And that is really, really frustrating for Sam Hampshire, who tumbles down the order. Julius Stankowiak will not quite get it past him, but it is going to be frustrating regardless. That being said, a fantastic lightweight race here in the DMAX National Champs. So at the end of a very entertaining lightweight race, we can see our race results where the faceless driver takes victory alongside the fastest lap of the race as well. He's joined on the podium by Jamie Tyler Gooden and Jack O'Neill. Charlie Foster and Dom Balasatis, your top 5. Thomas Williams finishes in 6th position after fending off Carlos Almanis for much of that 17-lap race. Jamie Warner is in 8th position with Ellis McKenzie and George Lawler, the rest of your top 10. Sam Hampshire is in 11th position with Yassine Khan in 12th. Zach Swanell is victim of a post-race penalty in 13th position with Max Andrews and Julius Stankowiak, the rest of the top 15. Joseph Milburn is in 16th position with Daniel Varlin also receiving a post-race penalty into 17th position. Aaron Marius is 18th with Jonah Norris and Max Murray, the rest of your order. We can now go down to the pit lane to have a listen to what a couple of our drivers said at the end of the lightweight round here in DMAX National Champs.
So Jamie, extremely good race there. You started off in 3rd, you then stayed in 3rd, was pushing the faceless driver all the way to get to the back of O'Neill, where he then got through and then you managed to get through. You had a very exciting last lap there. You seemed to be aware of his last corner move, so you managed to block him off very nicely. Talk us through that race.
Yeah, so I started P3, I managed to settle into a good rhythm, then I was working with a faceless driver to catch up, back up to Jack obviously, and then managed to get past Jack. Everyone in the front was kind of equal on pace, so I knew I had to dive him soon, and then I didn't want what he did to me in Heat 1 to happen to me again in the last corner, so I had to really stop on the apex, but I managed to get it right now.
Was there any moment there where you thought, oh, this could be it, this could be my chance to get a win, or do you feel like you just lacked that little bit at the end?
Yeah, I think as soon as faceless driver passed O'Neill, I think that was kind of when it, I wasn't going to win. It was quick, so I wasn't really going to catch back up.
Well, it's been an extremely strong start for you today in the championship. 3rd place, big points through the heats and the final. Where's your head at moving on to round 2?
Well, yeah, just moving on to round 2, hope for another good result, and whenever Milton Keynes comes around, it's my home track, so I hope to win that. Okay,
so you're saying that this is the build-up one, the next one's the one that's going to, where you're really, really quick?
Yes.
Okay, best of luck, dude.
Thank you.
So, Jack, heartbreaking there, started from pole, pulled away at the start, but then seemed to just drop back in the middle of that race. Talk us through it.
I'm not sure if I dropped back or I think the other guys just came a bit stronger at the sort of mid part of the race, to be fair, at the start. Thought, yep, got my thing under control, and they found some mega pace, and 46.2 was the fastest, which is, outrageously fast since they didn't ask for it the other days, but yeah, third place, it's not heartbreaking, it was a good race, to be fair. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, it was very, very strong. Unfortunately, Jamie managed to read you at the end and block you to make sure you couldn't get to 2nd there. He read that last corner move, obviously experienced from it, but really great last lap battle. Talk us through that final stage where I think you went, instead of trying to push for the win, let's try and get 2nd.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think the faceless guy at that point in time has got it in the bag, to be fair. So so the only opportunity was to try and get second. It was a good race at the end. It didn't quite pay off this time around, but to be fair, no sort of backwards is usually 50-50.
Okay, well done on the podium still, and banking the points for the next round.
Unfortunately, not the next round. Damn it! But I enjoy myself. That's the main thing.
Okay, well congratulations today.
Yeah. Thank you.